The grand hall of the alien palace stretched farther than any human eye could imagine. Crystalline walls rose like mountains, their surfaces shimmering with a spectrum of colors that seemed to dance and shift as if alive. Soft beams of light passed through the translucent ceiling, casting strange, multicolored patterns onto the floor. The palace was quiet except for the murmurs of the nobles, whose many limbs and tentacles twitched nervously as they waited for the queen to speak. Princess Lyra stood near the throne, her tall frame graceful, her luminous eyes reflecting the colors around her. Though her posture was poised, a faint sadness lingered in her expression, betraying her inner turmoil. The alien queen sat high above them all, her massive tentacles resting elegantly on the armrests of her throne. Her skin glowed faintly under the shimmering light, and her voice, when she spoke, filled the hall like a low thunder that demanded attention. "No one wants my daughter," she said, her tone neither cruel nor angry, but heavy with frustration and sorrow. The words resonated throughout the chamber, leaving a strange silence in their wake. The nobles shifted uneasily. Some whispered to one another in low, melodic tones, their words like music yet full of tension. It was rare for a queen to speak with such personal emotion in a public setting. Lyra's eyes flicked toward them, and she could feel the weight of their judgment. They had come expecting to witness something noble, perhaps a political union or a demonstration of power. Instead, they saw vulnerability. Princess Lyra had always been different from other members of her royal family. She was curious, bold, and unafraid to challenge traditions. Her fascination with humans, despite their small size and fragile bodies, had often drawn her criticism from the court. Humans were unpredictable, she had argued to anyone who would listen, and yet there was something about their courage that fascinated her. She admired their stubbornness, their ability to face impossible odds and still rise, and she secretly wished she could understand their world better. No alien suitor had shown interest in her, and the queen's disappointment was growing. Many aliens feared humans, seeing them as weak and incapable of understanding their complex ways. Others thought that such a union would diminish the prestige of the royal family. For Lyra, it was more painful than she could express. She had waited for someone to recognize her worth, someone who could see past her royal title to the person she truly was. But time passed, and none came. Just as the queen leaned back, letting out a deep sigh that vibrated through the crystalline throne, a sudden movement at the edge of the hall caught everyone's attention. A human man had stepped forward, moving carefully on the smooth floor. He was small compared to the aliens, his frame thin yet upright, his posture calm and unshakable. His clothing was simple, a jacket, pants, and sturdy shoes, but his eyes, sharp and steady, betrayed intelligence and confidence. "I will marry your daughter," he said. His voice was clear, carrying across the vast hall, stopping every whisper in its tracks. The words seemed to hang in the air, impossible and shocking. All eyes turned toward him. Some faces expressed disbelief, others amusement, and a few were openly skeptical. How could a human, frail and small, dare to make such a declaration before the alien queen? The queen's tentacles twitched in surprise. She leaned forward, her glowing eyes fixed on the human. "Do you understand what you are saying?" she asked, her voice now a mixture of curiosity and caution. "You are a human. She is my daughter. Our species have never crossed like this. You risk everything by stepping forward." In that moment, the hall felt strangely quiet, as if the very walls were listening to the audacity of his words. Even Princess Lyra blinked, caught between disbelief and a growing sense of admiration. She had expected alien suitors, each one cautious, each one calculating. But this human had stepped forward boldly, without hesitation, without fear. It was the human quality she had always admired, the courage to face impossibility head-on. The nobles whispered again, their words like a ripple through the crowd. "He cannot be serious. He will fail. Humans are too fragile." But the queen remained silent, studying him. Her many eyes narrowed slightly as she considered the situation. A human's courage was undeniable, yet so was the danger. If he failed, it could humiliate her family. If he succeeded, it could change everything. The human took another step forward, closing the distance toward the throne. "I do not seek to humiliate your family," he said, his voice steady. "I only seek to honor your daughter and your people. I know the risks. I know the customs are complex, but I am ready to learn. I am ready to face your trials. And I will not give up. Our trials are not games. They are meant to test strength, intelligence, and adaptability. Many have tried and failed. Many have never returned. Do you truly believe you can face them?" She had heard humans speak before, but she had never seen one display such courage so openly. Even her daughter seemed captivated, a faint smile beginning to form on her lips. The human had done what no alien had dared. He had stepped into a world of strangers and faced them all without fear. Finally, the queen spoke again. "Very well," she said, her voice steady. "If you wish to pursue my daughter, you must first prove yourself. You will face the trial of knowledge, the trial of strength, and the trial of courage. Only then will I consider your request." She had set these trials for the strongest, the wisest, and the bravest of her people. If a human could survive them, it would be a miracle, and perhaps a lesson that her people had underestimated the strength of another species. Princess Lyra's eyes glimmered with hope. She had longed for someone who could understand her world and face it with courage. This human might be the one she had been waiting for. And though the journey ahead would be perilous, she felt a spark of excitement, a sense that perhaps for the first time, she was not alone in her struggle to find someone who truly understood her. The nobles shifted, some angry, some curious, and some in disbelief. The hall felt charged with tension, as though the air itself had thickened. Outside the palace walls, the alien city continued its hum of life, oblivious to the drama unfolding within. Yet inside, the fate of the princess, and perhaps the future of relations between humans and aliens, rested on the courage of one small, determined man. The human glanced at Lyra, and she met his gaze without words. In that silent exchange, a connection formed, fragile yet undeniable. He was not just a human, he was a symbol of bravery, a challenge to centuries of alien assumptions, and perhaps a sign that change was coming to their world. The queen's tentacles twitched one last time before she signaled the guards. "Prepare the first trial," she commanded. "We will see if your courage matches your words." He had entered an alien world with nothing but his resolve, and now the real challenge was about to begin. And though he did not yet know the dangers that lay ahead, one thing was certain. He would face them with the full strength of his humanity. As the chamber doors opened to reveal a path leading deeper into the palace, Lyra's heart beat faster. She could not explain why, but she felt a sense of hope she had never felt before. Perhaps this human, so fragile yet so brave, could do what no one else had ever managed, win her hand and prove that humanity was stronger than anyone had imagined. And so, with the first step taken, a journey of courage, knowledge, and unimaginable trials began, one that would test the limits of human determination and the very assumptions of an alien world. The palace, silent and immense, seemed to hold its breath, watching as the first human in history dared to step forward and claim his place among the stars. The human followed the guards through winding corridors of the alien palace. The walls seemed alive, pulsing faintly with colors that shifted like flowing liquid. Strange symbols glowed and faded as he passed, giving the feeling that the palace itself was watching him. The air smelled faintly sweet and metallic at the same time, a scent he could not describe. Despite the alien surroundings, he walked steadily, keeping his eyes open for anything unusual. He had faced challenges on Earth before, but nothing like this. Yet fear did not dominate him, determination did. At last, they arrived at a massive chamber. The floor was smooth and polished, reflecting the lights above in a kaleidoscope of colors. In the center of the room, a large console stood, surrounded by floating panels covered in alien symbols. The queen's voice rang out clearly, though she was not in the room. "This is the trial of knowledge. To succeed, you must solve the puzzle and prove your intelligence. Many of my advisors have tried. All have failed." He studied the symbols, trying to see patterns, shapes, anything familiar. At first, it seemed impossible. The symbols were not like any language he had ever seen. They pulsed with strange energy, moving subtly as if alive. But humans were curious by nature, and curiosity often led to solutions where force could not. He took a deep breath and focused. "Every puzzle has rules," he muttered to himself. "Even if I don't understand them yet, I can figure them out." His fingers hovered over the floating panels. He noticed that when he touched certain symbols, others lit up or dimmed. It was like a giant, glowing logic board. He started testing combinations, carefully noting what each touch did. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, he could not tell. Time seemed different in this chamber. Sweat formed on his brow, but he refused to stop. He remembered Lyra's eyes, full of hope, and the queen's words, heavy with challenge. He thought of humans back on Earth, facing impossible situations and somehow surviving. If humans could do that, surely he could do this. Finally, he noticed a subtle rhythm in the glowing symbols. Some symbols pulsed faster than others. He traced the pattern with his mind, linking the faster pulses with the slower ones, imagining a sequence. He hesitated, then pressed the symbols in the order he had determined. The panels glowed brightly, then dimmed. A soft chime echoed in the chamber, and a hidden door slowly opened on the far side of the room. The human smiled slightly, relief washing over him. The trial was far from over, but he had passed the first step. He had faced something completely alien and solved it using logic, intuition, and persistence, qualities humans often relied upon when facing the unknown. A door opened, and a new chamber came into view. This one was entirely different. The floor was uneven, made of jagged stones that seemed to move slightly under his weight. Strange winds blew from hidden vents, carrying scents he could not identify. At the center of the room was a massive weight suspended by glowing energy cables, pulsing as if alive. The Queen's voice again echoed through the chamber. This is the trial of strength. Not just physical strength, but endurance, adaptability, and the will to continue. Few survive this trial. He remembered stories of people lifting far more than their body weight, enduring pain, and never giving up. He could do this. He just had to adapt. He grabbed the weight. It jolted him instantly. Electricity-like energy surged through the cables, threatening to throw him off balance. He stumbled, almost falling, but caught himself. "Steady," he muttered. He adjusted his grip, using leverage and careful steps to keep the weight steady. The energy pulses were unpredictable, yet he learned to anticipate them, moving in rhythm with the surges. Hours, or perhaps what felt like days, passed. His muscles ached, his hands bled from gripping the cables, but he did not stop. Every time the weight shifted dangerously, he adapted. He pressed forward, one careful step at a time, relying not on brute force but on observation, intelligence, and patience. Finally, the weight reached the designated pedestal at the far end of the chamber. He set it down carefully, exhausted but victorious. A soft hum filled the room, acknowledging his success. The second trial was complete. Once again, he had proven that humans had strength beyond mere muscle. Resilience, adaptability, and determination could overcome even the most intimidating challenges. The third chamber was the largest of all. The walls were high, the ceiling lost in shadow. Strange creatures, half-light, half-shadow, moved along the edges of the room. The Queen's voice echoed one last time. The trial of courage. Fear is the true enemy. You must face what terrifies you and emerge unbroken. Many fail here not because of danger, but because of their own fear. He remembered Earth's explorers, those who went into unknown forests, oceans, and mountains, risking life and limb. Courage was not the absence of fear, it was acting despite it. The shadows shifted. Suddenly, one of the creatures lunged at him, its form impossible to describe, part smoke, part light, with eyes that burned like stars. He dodged instinctively, feeling the energy of the chamber react to his movements. Another lunged, then another. They seemed endless, surrounding him from every angle. He ran, leaped, ducked, and rolled, but he realized that fighting them directly was useless. Instead, he focused on understanding their pattern. Each attack followed a rhythm, a pulse he could sense. He moved in sync with the energy, using the chamber itself to guide him. He pressed against walls, leaped over beams of light, and finally reached a glowing portal at the center of the room. He stepped through it, collapsing on the other side, his chest heaving. He had faced the embodiment of fear itself, and he had survived. His courage, tempered with observation and adaptability, had carried him through. The chamber doors opened to reveal the Queen waiting, her tentacles folded gracefully. She studied him silently for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice a mixture of surprise and approval. "You have passed all three trials: knowledge, strength, courage. No human has ever come this far. Few aliens have succeeded either. You have proven yourself worthy of my daughter. I have always believed in humans, but seeing it, you have proven more than I imagined. It seems," she said slowly, "that humans may be stronger than we thought. Perhaps we have judged them unfairly for too long." Her voice softened as she looked at Lyra. "You have a choice, daughter. You may decide freely. Your heart may guide you. I have never met anyone like him. He is brave, clever, and kind. He sees me as I am, not just as a princess. But if you both are determined, perhaps a new chapter for both our species can begin." His heart swelled with hope, knowing this was only the beginning, and that together, he and Lyra could face whatever the universe had in store. The palace seemed to hum with life around them, as if acknowledging the bravery of one human who dared to step forward and change the course of history. Outside, the alien city carried on, oblivious to the small but significant shift in their world. But inside the walls of the palace, something remarkable had occurred. Courage, determination, and the human spirit had triumphed. And the first steps of a journey that could unite two species had begun, led by a human who refused to be defeated. The halls of the alien palace, usually calm after the trials, were now alive with tension. Whispers traveled like currents through the corridors, spreading faster than the human could follow. Nobles, advisors, and soldiers all had heard the news. A human had passed the 3 trials and won the attention of the princess. Many were excited, but many more were outraged. To them, humans were weak, fragile, and unpredictable. Some even whispered of rebellion, saying the human's success was a threat to centuries of alien tradition. The human walked beside Lyra, who had chosen to remain close to him, her luminous eyes reflecting concern and curiosity. "Do you think they will accept this?" he asked quietly, his voice low so only she could hear. Lyra shook her head. "Not all. Some will, yes, but many will see us as a threat. They believe you are small and weak. They do not understand what humans can do when they refuse to give up." Her words were calm, but there was a fire in them. She had admired him from the first moment he stepped forward, and that admiration had only grown with each trial he completed. Their path took them to a balcony overlooking the city below. Thousands of alien citizens moved like rivers through the streets, oblivious to the drama within the palace. The city was a marvel. Towers spiraled into the sky, connected by bridges of light, and vehicles glided silently between them. The human had never seen anything like it, and for a moment he paused to take it in. "This city, it's incredible," he said, "and you all built it." "Yes, but it is also fragile. Many of our systems are complex and require careful control. One wrong move, one act of sabotage, and chaos could follow." The ground vibrated slightly, and the human instinctively dropped to one knee, sensing danger. Lyra grabbed his arm. "It's the council," she whispered. "They have called a meeting. They are not happy with your presence." Their eyes glowed faintly, and their voices carried authority that made even seasoned soldiers tense. The human could feel their judgment before they even spoke. One elder, larger than the rest, with skin like polished bronze and eyes like molten gold, leaned forward. "Human," he said slowly, his voice like rolling stones. "You have passed our trials, yes. But courage and intelligence alone do not make one fit to join the royal family. Do you truly understand what it means to unite with our people, to bring honor, responsibility, and stability? But I understand what it means to care for someone, to protect them, and to face challenges that seem impossible. I am willing to learn, and I am willing to face the consequences of my choices. That is what being human means, and that is why I stand before you today." His words were simple, but they carried weight. Unlike the aliens, who often relied on tradition, hierarchy, and fear, the human relied on honesty and courage. It was a form of strength the council had never seen before. Another elder, smaller but equally imposing, spoke next. "You are brave, human, but bravery alone cannot protect a kingdom. There are enemies both within and without. There are factions who oppose this union. Do you have the cunning, the foresight, and the patience to navigate a world you barely understand? I may not know everything about your world yet, but I will learn, and I will not give up." He was small, yes, and his body was fragile compared to theirs, but his mind and spirit radiated something rare. The quiet confidence of someone who refused to surrender. The elder who had first spoken leaned back, tapping a clawed hand on the platform. "Perhaps you are different," he said slowly. "Perhaps your species has abilities we have underestimated, but words alone will not sway everyone. There are those who will act against you. The rebels, some of the council members have sent soldiers to stop this marriage." The first alien soldier lunged, but the human sidestepped, using the momentum of his attacker to send him crashing into the wall. Another came, swinging a weapon, but the human ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding a blast of energy. His movements were not trained in alien combat, but humans had a gift for improvisation. He adapted to the attacks, using speed, observation, and intuition to stay alive. Lyra raised her own hands, manipulating a device on her wrist. Beams of energy shot out, creating barriers that slowed the attackers. Together, she and the human moved like a coordinated team, defending each other and pushing back the rebel forces. The chamber shook with the force of the battle, yet the human remained calm, focusing on one attacker at a time. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the remaining attackers retreated. The council chamber was in chaos, debris scattered across the floor, but the human and Lyra stood together, unharmed. The queen descended from her observation platform, her expression unreadable. "You have survived the test of diplomacy and danger," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. Few have faced both and lived. You have shown that humans are more than fragile creatures. You are clever, adaptable, and courageous. Perhaps you deserve a place in our world." "I did what I had to do," he said. "Not for glory, not for recognition, but to protect her and to show that humans can rise to challenges. There will be those who oppose you both, who doubt your worth, and who may try to undermine this union at every turn. Are you prepared for that?" He had entered this alien world as a stranger, small and underestimated, and yet he had faced trials, danger, and rebellion. He had survived through intelligence, courage, and determination. And now he was not just a visitor. He was a part of something bigger, a symbol of human strength and resilience. Outside the chamber, the palace continued its usual rhythm, unaware of the small but significant shift in power and perception that had just occurred. The rebels had failed, the council had witnessed a new kind of courage, and the human had proven that even the smallest among them could change the course of events. Lyra took his hand, her touch warm and reassuring. "We have more to face," she said softly, "but I believe we can succeed together." A human had faced impossible trials, outwitted the doubts of an entire council, and survived an ambush by rebels. He had not done it with brute strength alone, nor with luck, nor with arrogance. He had done it with the uniquely human combination of courage, intelligence, adaptability, and the refusal to surrender. And so the first steps toward bridging two worlds had been taken. The journey was far from over, but already the story of this human and the alien princess was spreading through whispers, awe, and cautious admiration. He was no longer just a visitor. He was a hero in the making, a symbol of hope, and proof that even in the vast, complex universe, humanity could shine. As night fell over the alien city, the human and Lyra stood on a balcony, looking down at the glowing streets below. "This is just the beginning," Lyra said, her eyes reflecting the city lights. "Yes," the human replied, his gaze steady and determined. "And we will face it all, together." Humanity had taken its first step into a world that doubted it, and in doing so it had shown that courage, persistence, and the human spirit could overcome even the most alien of challenges. The trials had ended, but the true test, the test of trust, unity, and survival, was only beginning. And the human, small yet fearless, was ready to meet it head-on. The human stood at the edge of the palace balcony, the wind from the alien city brushing against his face. Lyra was beside him, her hand lightly resting on his arm. The city below seemed peaceful, glowing under the soft light of the twin moons above, but he knew the calm was temporary. The rebellion within the council was only the beginning. Forces outside the palace walls were already moving. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked quietly. Her eyes, bright and determined, met his. She had faced opposition from her own people before, but she had never met anyone like him. His presence had changed something, a spark of hope that no alien suitor could ever bring. "I'm ready," he said firmly. "Whatever comes, we face it together. Show them that humans are not what they fear, that humans are capable of honor, courage, and cooperation." They traveled through the city streets, their path illuminated by glowing bridges of light. Citizens paused as they passed, whispering among themselves. Some looked curious, some suspicious, and others openly hostile. Humans were rare here, and humans daring to stand beside royalty were nearly unheard of. A crowd had gathered near the city square, a mix of citizens, merchants, and soldiers. The human could feel their eyes on him, studying his every move. He stepped forward with calm confidence. "I know I am different," he began, his voice steady, carrying across the square. "I am a human. You may think we are small, fragile, and weak, but we are resilient, we are brave. And we are willing to stand beside those who trust us, to face danger and hardship, and to learn from others." He spoke not with arrogance, but with honesty, the clarity of someone who had nothing to hide. A figure stepped forward from the crowd, a tall alien with silver eyes that glowed faintly. "You speak of courage, human," the alien said, "but courage alone does not change a world. Many of us have fought for centuries to maintain our ways. How do we know you will not bring chaos, that your presence will not destroy what we have built? I have done these things not for glory, but to protect someone I care about, and to prove that humans are capable of more than you imagine. If you give me the chance, I will show you that humans can honor your ways, respect your people, and contribute to your world. Perhaps humans can be more than we feared, but words alone are not enough. Actions speak louder than words." The crowd panicked, moving in every direction. Without hesitation, the human stepped forward, placing himself between Lyra and the attackers. He had never faced a battle like this, not in a city so alien and complex, but he relied on the human traits that had carried him through so far: quick thinking, adaptability, and courage under pressure. Lyra activated her wrist device, sending out a protective shield around them. The attackers struck, energy weapons colliding against the barrier, sparks flying in all directions. The humans studied the patterns of their attacks, noticing how they moved, their timing, and weaknesses in their formation. One rebel charged directly at him, swinging a glowing blade. The human sidestepped, using the attacker's momentum to send him stumbling into another. Another aimed a weapon at Lyra, but the human leaped, intercepting the shot and using a discarded piece of alien metal to deflect it. The crowd watched in astonishment. Humans were small, yes, but their ingenuity was unmatched. The human used the environment to his advantage, sliding along railings, ducking behind statues, and improvising with whatever he could find. His movements were not alien-trained, yet they were effective, fluid, and intelligent. Lyra fought beside him, her devices creating barriers, traps, and distractions. The human adapted to each new challenge, showing the citizens that his courage was matched by his intelligence and determination. Slowly, the rebels began to retreat, realizing that their attack was failing. When the last of them fled, the human and Lyra stood in the square, breathing heavily but unscathed. The citizens, initially fearful, now stared with admiration and awe. Some approached cautiously, offering nods of respect. Others whispered about the bravery and ingenuity of humans, something many had never considered possible. The silver-eyed alien from before stepped forward once again. "I see now," he said, his voice calm and measured. "Humans are not what we assumed. You have courage, yes, but also intelligence, adaptability, and a willingness to stand for what is right. Perhaps there is more to your species than we have allowed ourselves to believe. I only wish to live in a world where we can learn from each other, grow together, and protect those we care about." Lyra turned to him, her smile warm and proud. "You have done what few could. You've shown them your courage and your heart. You've changed their minds." Even those who had opposed him could not deny the courage, ingenuity, and resilience he displayed. In a matter of hours, he had gone from an outsider to a symbol of hope, demonstrating the human ability to overcome the impossible. The queen arrived in the city square, descending from her transport with grace. Her eyes scanned the crowd and rested on the human, who stood confidently beside Lyra. "It seems," she said, her voice carrying authority, "that humans have qualities we have long underestimated. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are not the sole domain of aliens. Perhaps it is time we reconsider our assumptions. I only seek to show that humans can contribute, learn, and protect those we care about. That is all. You may yet change the future of our world. And we never give up on what is right." Even beyond the city, factions who had opposed the Union now reconsidered their plans. They realized that a human could not be underestimated. What he had done in the city square, facing danger, protecting the princess, and showing courage under fire, was more than they had anticipated. It was proof that humanity, though small in size, possessed a strength of spirit and a determination that could overcome fear and prejudice. The human took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what had happened. He had arrived in this alien world as a stranger, underestimated and dismissed. He had faced trials, danger, and rebellion. And yet, through courage, intelligence, and persistence, he had not only survived but had earned the respect of a people who had never thought humans could be worthy allies. Lyra squeezed his hand, her eyes reflecting pride and hope. "The road ahead will be difficult," she said, "but I know we can succeed. Together, we will show them that love, courage, and determination can overcome even the deepest fears. And whatever comes, we will face it as humans do, head-on, without fear, and never giving up." The human had taken the first steps in proving that courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit were forces to be reckoned with, and that even in a world so different from Earth, humanity could shine. The city was quiet under the soft light of the twin moons, but the human knew that peace was fragile. Word of his actions had spread, both inspiring admiration and stirring fear. Not everyone welcomed a human among them, and the queen had warned that the true test of unity and trust was still ahead. The human and Lyra walked through the palace gardens, paths lit by glowing flowers and streams of iridescent water. The scents were unfamiliar but calming. The alien plants swayed gently in the breeze, their colors changing with each step, as if the garden itself were alive. Lyra stopped and looked at him. "This is the moment," she said softly. The final challenge, the one that will determine if our people truly accept you and if our union will survive. So you are ready, human? The queen's tentacles extended slowly as she stepped onto the path. The final challenge is not just for you, it is for all of us. Many in my kingdom still doubt humans. There are those who believe your courage and intelligence are insufficient. Today, you must prove that humans can be trusted, that your spirit can endure adversity beyond what you have faced in trials, councils, or the streets. Strange, swirling lights appeared, forming a pathway that led into darkness. Lyra took his hand. "We go together," she said. As they stepped through the portal, they found themselves in a vast arena, unlike anything the human had imagined. The ground shimmered like liquid silver, stretching endlessly in all directions. Around them floated platforms of light, and in the distance, enormous shadowy figures moved, each taller than the tallest tower in the city. The air hummed with energy, a mixture of power and danger. The queen's voice echoed around them. "These are the sentinels, guardians of the old laws and traditions. They test not only strength but heart, loyalty, and the ability to inspire trust. You must face them, human, and you must protect her." The first sentinel moved toward them, a massive creature of shadow and light. Its steps sent vibrations through the arena, and its eyes glowed like molten stars. It roared, and the sound seemed to echo inside their minds, testing their resolve. The human did not flinch. He remembered Earth, the struggles he had faced, the times humans had survived against impossible odds. This was no different. He would not run. Using quick thinking, he observed the sentinel's movement. Its attacks were powerful but predictable. He dodged, rolled, and used the platforms to his advantage, creating distance and using momentum to redirect its energy. Lyra's abilities complemented him perfectly. She sent beams of light to distract the sentinel, creating openings that allowed the human to act. Hours passed, or what felt like hours in that strange arena. Each sentinel was unique, each presenting challenges unlike the others. One moved with incredible speed, another tested their patience by remaining still while sending illusions to confuse them. The human adapted to each threat, using his mind as much as his body. Humans often survived because they could think creatively under pressure, and that advantage had never been more necessary. The final sentinel was the largest of all. Its form was nearly incomprehensible, a swirling mass of energy and shadow, constantly shifting. Its roar shook the arena, and for the first time the human felt a flicker of fear. But fear was a signal, not a barrier. He squared his shoulders and focused on what he knew: adaptation, courage, intelligence, and trust in Lyra. Together, they moved as one. Lyra created barriers, manipulated the energy of the arena, and guided him through the chaos. The human anticipated the sentinel's moves, using instinct and observation to avoid being crushed or overwhelmed. Step by step, they worked together, their trust growing with each near miss, each successful maneuver. Finally, the human saw an opening. Using a combination of agility and insight, he leaped, striking the sentinel at its core with a device Lyra had given him. Energy surged through the creature, and it let out a final, echoing roar before dissipating into harmless light. The arena was still, the air calm for the first time since they had arrived. The queen appeared before them, her form glowing in approval. "You have done it," she said. "You have faced the sentinels, the guardians of our old ways, and proven that humans are capable not only of courage and intelligence, but of trust, loyalty, and heart. You have shown that your species can be more than what we feared. You have changed minds, inspired people, and proven that courage and heart matter as much as strength or tradition. You have shown humanity's true value." Lyra took the human's hand. "This is our future," she said. "Together we can face anything. Together we will show both humans and aliens that cooperation, trust, and courage are stronger than fear." Through trials, battles, and impossible challenges, he had survived, adapted, and inspired. He had proven the strength of the human spirit, the unique qualities that made humans capable of greatness even in the face of overwhelming odds. The queen approached them, her gaze sweeping over the human. "You are no longer merely a visitor," she said. "You are a part of our world. And through your actions, you have begun to bridge the gap between humans and aliens. Perhaps, in time, your species will be seen not as fragile, but as capable, courageous, and honorable. I will never give up, no matter the challenges that come." The trials, the battles, the councils, and the sentinels, each step had been a test, and each had been overcome. "This is only the beginning," he said, gazing at the city beyond the palace walls. "But I know we can face whatever comes next. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans never give up. That is what we have proven. Go forth, daughter and human. Together you have reshaped the perception of your species. The path will not be easy, and there will be those who doubt, but you have shown that courage, intelligence, and heart can overcome fear and prejudice. Your union is now a symbol of possibility. And together we will make it stronger, wiser, and safer. We will show that humans are capable of greatness, and that two worlds can learn from each other. They had witnessed a human not only survive impossible challenges, but also inspire change, protect those who mattered, and prove that the human spirit was formidable. Above them, the twin moons cast their light over the alien towers, a symbol of possibility and the promise of a future where humans and aliens could work together, united by courage, intelligence, and the unyielding determination to face the impossible. The human had come as a stranger, underestimated and dismissed. He had faced trials, danger, rebellion, and guardians of the old laws. And yet, through perseverance, cleverness, and the strength of his spirit, he had succeeded. Lyra looked at him, her eyes full of admiration and love. "You are extraordinary," she said. He smiled, a mixture of exhaustion and pride. "I am just human," he said, "but humans never give up." And today, we have proven that even the smallest, most underestimated species can change the course of history. And perhaps, with humans and aliens working together, a brighter future awaits both our worlds. And above it all, the stars sparkled like endless possibilities, a reminder that courage, determination, and the human spirit could shine even in the most alien of worlds. The story of one human had begun to change the course of history, not through strength alone, but through intelligence, resilience, courage, and unwavering persistence. Humanity had proven itself worthy. Humanity had proven that even in a universe full of doubt, fear, and impossible odds, the human spirit would endure, inspire, and triumph.